day of paradoxes. We celebrate Jesus as King, yet around us we see anything but his righteous kingdom. We proclaim that he is Lord, yet other powers control much of the world. I don't think that that means that we're still waiting for the day that Jesus will claim his place as King of all creation. I believe he's already done that. But as the King of kindness, love, justice, and freedom, he's waiting for us to become his people, rather than us waiting for him to claim his position. Jesus is not the dictator of the world. He is not an oppressive ruler demanding our servanthood. He is the benevolent, loving servant king, come to care for all creation and come to teach us to live as he lives. When he taught his disciples how to pray, he didn't just spew out some pretty words. He gave us a pattern to use in our own prayer, and he gave us a framework for living into our roles as children of God and citizens of God's kingdom. Think about those words we cherish and pray each week. We begin by naming and praising. Our Father in heaven, holy is your name. Then we put a powerful process into motion with our first request. Your kingdom come, your will be done. That second half of the statement is vital to actuating the first half. When we're busy doing God's will, the kingdom comes into view. The reason we're celebrating Reign of Christ Sunday, yet we have so many things around us that are anything but the peaceable kingdom, is because there aren't enough of us actually living into our roles as participants in that kingdom. The mess we see around us isn't because Jesus has somehow managed to fail as king. It's because too much of the time we are passive. We live small. We don't claim our power and authority as children of the Most High. We don't claim our power and authority as followers of the Christ. We don't behave as co-creators of the beloved community. We all know what it is we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be sources of God's love. We're supposed to be sources of God's light. We're supposed to be busy doing kingdom work, doing justice, loving kindness, and walking humbly with God. When we look at all that is wrong in our families and our communities and our country and our world, it feels like a ridiculous notion that we can do anything to make a difference. We minimize ourselves and we minimize our ability to have a positive impact. But the truth is, as children of God, as humans created in the image of God, we are much more than what we typically allow ourselves to be. We live small. Yet we were created to be absolutely amazing. Yes, there are limits on what we can do because we live in a society that attempts to minimize personal power. But those limits are inconsequential in comparison to our self-imposed barriers. Do you remember when Barack Obama first began his initial presidential campaign way back before the 2008 election? He was virtually unknown. I remember thinking, what makes him think he can run for president? He hasn't even created a name for himself yet. Nobody has even heard of him. I guess he didn't listen to me or my limits for his life. He had the audacity to hope, the daring to dream, and the courage to put his entire self into accomplishing his seemingly impossible goal of becoming President of the United States. He did what most of us wouldn't dare to even dream. He lived into possibility. We can do that. We can live into the possibility that we can change our world. We can live into the possibility that we can bring the beloved community into its glorious existence, full-time visible, present for all people. We can, because that's exactly what we're created to do. We were put on this earth to be the beloved. We're connected to each other by the love of God that flows with unlimited capacity between God and us, and between each of us. The only limits are those we impose upon ourselves. And we don't need to live under those limits any longer. When I was growing up in the middle of the Cold War, the war was a terribly frightening place for me. I didn't understand all the things I heard Walter Cronkite talking about, but I knew things were dangerous. Russia could attack. They had nuclear weapons. I knew there was something called an Iron Curtain that separated the people of Russia